Good afternoon. I'm John Riccitiello. I've been working in the world of gaming and in 3D rendering for the last 20 years. And before we get anywhere, I'm going to talk about real-time 3D compute. And you just saw a pretty interesting video. And on that video, there's two traits that everything on that video shared. One is they were created using true real-time 3D. And second, they were built in Unity, whether it was the most downloaded game in history, which is Pokemon Go, or it was the Mercedes experiences you saw, Monument Valley, an award-winning game. All of that was created in Unity. Now, before we go any further, I want to talk a little bit about what I mean when I talk about real-time 3D compute. And this sort of illustrates it a little bit, but here's my point. Most things today are created using 2D technologies, 2D models, or non-real-time models. Think of the movie industry where you've got a fake set. You can't look around the back side of it. Or if you're working in the world of special effects, you send it off to a render farm someplace, and the director, she sees it a day or two later, or a week later, or a month later. What happens now with real-time 3D compute is you can look around the back of things. You can see it from any angle you want. The director can move the camera instantly, absolutely instantly. This really changes everything. If you will, the world of old is here, the world of new is on your right. Now, I want to make a bold prediction. Only a few industries today, only a few, have at their core real-time 3D compute. They're either using 2D creation for their products, or it's not real time. It takes weeks to see the output of the creator's labor. My prediction is in the course of the next decade, all of these industries and many, many more are going to change everything about their content creation. It's all going to become real time. It's going to replace the tools for 2D. It's going to replace the tools that take forever to get your content. It's going to happen now. Now, before we go any further, you might wonder, who is this guy standing up here making the prediction? I mean, why would he know anything? And I want to talk a little bit about my company because I think my company's credentials will give you some idea. Now, Unity is at the forefront of most things real-time in 3D. Now, this is an interesting statistic. I'm going to focus only on the mobile gaming industry for a moment. And here's a data point. A Unity game is downloaded 654 times per second. That translates to 56.5 million games downloaded in the last 24 hours, or 20 billion games downloaded in the past year. The numbers are huge. We're at the forefront. We see a lot of things. If you want to have an understanding of our global footprint, this is the map where there are no professional Unity developers working in the industry today. 3 countries, Sudan, North Korea, and the Vatican City, are the only cities where they're not incorporated, or the only countries where they're not incorporated teams building content in Unity. And if you want to understand where Unity content is consumed, this is the map of that. Every single country on the planet, including North Korea. And yes, we can track you. So the point that I'm trying to make is Unity is pretty darn universal. And another measure of that universality, today, as I'm speaking here today, 40% of the top 1,000 games in the world are built in Unity. If it's a new game coming out, over 50% are built in Unity. If it's AR and VR content, from HoloLens to Vive, from Oculus to anything you can think of, the Google devices, etc., 60% of that is built in Unity. So if it's in 3D, if it's in gaming, if it's in AR and VR, we've seen it, we've touched it, we've been involved. Now, that involvement, Pokemon Go, the most installed game in history. Blizzard's Hearthstone, just an unbelievably successful and very cool game. Others up here like Monument Valley or Honor of Kings, 10 cents game, the most played game in the world today. 50 million people will play that game today. Incredible penetration for real-time 3D in all of these products. Now, many of you have heard of Mary Meeker. Mary puts out Planet Perkins, she puts out a report annually that talks about the future of the internet. And what she says here is that gaming tools are foundational to the internet services we use today. What she was saying is, if you're trying to see tomorrow for the internet, you're trying to see tomorrow for technology, look to the gaming industry. And I think she was very, very right. These tools are where the market is going. Now, if you're like me, and I'm going to give you some examples, I do a lot of shopping online. I buy a lot of clothes online. You might wonder if they fit. One of the challenges is getting something that fits you. I mean, you see beautiful models, perfectly coiffed, putting their act together. How would I look in that? Now, in the very near-term future, it is almost certain that most online apparel sites are going to ditch the pretty model and replace it with you. Whether you put in some clothes that fit you as a data point and they use AI to get a body type, do a quick scan, put in a few measurements, what you're going to see is yourself draped in that shirt, yourself in those pants, exactly the size. And I understand today that depending on the retailer, 10 and 30% of all online clothes are returned. It's a massive $100+ billion cost. The people that sell clothes online are going to love this. It's going to bring their returns down dramatically. Everyone's going to love this, probably except perhaps UPS and DHL and other delivery services. This is going to be a massive boon to the economics of the industry. Let's take a look at the car industry. They use a variety of tools, sometimes clay, sometimes modeling tools, sometimes 2D, but almost never real-time 3D. And here's the problem. They're using different tools depending on the use. They'll use static 2D modeling to create a high quality display product that they can use for design. They'll send things off to their agency to create things for marketing materials. They'll send it to another group in their organization for the dealers or for a car configurator. In the future, this is an example from Mercedes, they spoke about this earlier, they're using Unity to create once and deploy to all of those platforms, whether it's an AR device, a VR device, it's a PC, it's a television commercial, it's a car configurator. Build once, and with Unity, use it everywhere. This is the future for the car industry, and it's happening fast. Another industry that's kind of fun to think about is architecture. They've been using 3D models, yes, but they're static. Nothing moves. In the future, what we're going to see, and we're seeing this with leading architects today, they're using real-time 3D tools so that they can not only show you what it looks like, they can show you the stadium with a basketball team playing on the court. The entire stand's filled with the type of audience they imagine. They can experience things as opposed to just showing you a 2D diagram or a static picture. They can change the light by time of day. You want to know what it's going to look like at 10 o'clock Christmas Day in the middle of your arena? You can see that exactly as it is because the light map can change. It's way better to experience architecture than it is to see it from a distance. Now, another interesting world today is the world of big data and science. In the world of big data and science, they're often looking for anomalies, exceptions. They're looking to what's different in the data. And most of them are using histograms or exception reporting. And they get a lot of things that look like this. To be honest, to me, that's dizzying. One great example of people using real-time 3D is what the folks at CERN are doing with the Great Hadron Collider. They're looking at the particles from atomic bombarding and looking at the muons and gluons in real time. Now, let me be clear about this. We're slowing it down about 1 billion times so they can see this stuff, but they can examine individual particles, trajectory, spin, energy, and see what's happening and look for anomalies and look for differences in ways that will help them discover the next quantum particle because they can see the data better, they can experience it better, they can understand it better. We live in a 3D world. Now we can examine data in a 3D world. Medical. Now, the medical industry has been at the forefront of technology for a long time. Most of us probably don't know that the X-ray was discovered more than 100 years ago and used in the medical world. And now they're already moving to real-time 3D. This is an example of one of many where they're using real-time 3D imaging off a body scan for diagnosis. It's much more intuitive to see something. You can understand what's going on with your body if you see exactly what that looks like. And let's take a look at advertising. The challenge for advertisers has been to figure out how to get their brand in your world. With the coming VR kit, AR kit, smartphones, we're going to see this stuff in your world. They're going to bring it directly to you. It's going to change your relationship to advertising. Good or bad, it's going to change a lot. These are going to be the guys pushing it first and foremost. Now, the film industry, one that I like to talk a lot about, they've been building 2D sets. You look at the front of the saloon, you go behind, it's plywood and stands. They're creating sets for things that are truly 2D, fixed camera. That changes now. I'm about to show you a video of Unity's own Atom. This was created by Neil Blomkamp, but I'm not going to show you the video. I'm going to show you the creation process. What's happening here, and I've got the sound down so I can talk, is they're able to edit and change in real time. They can move the camera, they can move the environment. In a moment, you're going to see a scene where there's a fire in the background. And that fire is where it is, but let's see what it looks like if we move it. Why wouldn't we if we can? Or we're going to see an actor being moved in real time. And the director, she can look at this exactly when it happens. She's not waiting for tomorrow or the day after that or 3 months later. This is so much more powerful. And instead of creating 100 different small sets to look at things in interaction, they're going to create the one environment that the game's going to be created in, the movie's going to be created in, and you'll be able to edit and experience it in real time. So let me sum up where we are. It's faster, as the director saw. Better, more iteration. You can get your vision up there better. Cheaper, build it once, deploy everywhere. Universal, what do I mean by that? In a world of the future, yes, there'll be 2D devices, and you can consume 3D content on a 2D device, but you can't consume 2D content on a 3D device. Build once, use it everywhere. And it's future-proof because this is where it's all going. So just to give you a sense of all of this, the key point is that the future here and it's now. We might imagine it's the day after tomorrow. Next year, 2018, with VRKit and ARKit, there's going to be 1 billion 3D ready devices, AR ready devices in the marketplace. And following that, we're going to see the head-mounted displays from Oculus and Vive and Microsoft HoloLens and Google. This is all happening and will scale quickly. And here's a slide that I think helps illustrate the point well, at least I hope so. The blue line is consumption, the pink line here, or the red line, is content creation. What we're going to see is a sharp increase in content creation where it's virtually all 3D in the few years to come. On the consumption end, consumers are going to still use 2D devices like a TV and others to consume, but they're increasingly going to use 3D devices for consumption. So content creation switches wholesale. Consumption, it's going to be a blend. So look, it's a journey, it's changing now. If you're a content creator, get on the bandwagon, join us. It's going to be a hell of a future. Thanks very much.